Hi everyone! Today I'll be showing you how to fix a drop stitch in garter stitch. So in every knitter's life, you're going to drop a stitch at some point. I'm here to show you that it's nothing to worry about and quite easily fixable. So you're knitting along and all of a sudden, one of your stitches decides to abandon ship. Boop! If you're lucky and using a relatively sticky yarn like Quince & Co's Puffin right here, nothing will happen and your stitch will remain right there. All you have to do is pop it back on the needle, like so. Remember, when we're popping stitches back on the needle, you want to have the right leg in the front of the needle. So what that means is, this is your open loop. You want to have the right side in the front of your needle, like so. Other times when you're looking at drop stitches and you're less lucky, it's gonna look a little bit more like this. Pop it off. Ah! All of these ladders of yarn, what are you gonna do? Oh my goodness. So the first thing is that we're gonna make sure the rest of your stitches are secured. So pull your needles up a little bit to make sure that all of those other stitches aren't gonna fall off. And then you're going to take a look and see, because remember, in garter stitch, what's happening here is that you're knitting across one row and turning your work and knitting across the other row, which means that your yarn is actually entering the stitch alternating front to back and then back to front. So first we're going to identify what is happening down here. So it looks like the first row of my drop stitch, my active stitch right down here, it looks like the last row, what happened was that the yarn entered from front to back. So I'm going to look now and the order of the strands here. The next one should be coming from back to front. So this one right here, back to front. So there are a few ways to do this. If you're working on a pretty large gauge project like our garter stitch cowl or a stockinette cowl, you can just pop your finger through and pull your next yarn through like so. The other way of doing it is to pop this live stitch. Okay, so next one we're looking at this yarn entering front to back. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put first this live stitch, securing it on one of my needles. I'm going to pass that on to my right to make this a little easier. And because we're going from front to back, I'm going to grab that bar and then transfer the live stitch back onto the left hand needle and to just pull that through like so. And then the next one is going to be this guy. I know I need to find one from front to back, and it's not going to be this guy because I know this is the last row that needs to be pulled through. So I'm going to put this live stitch back on my left hand needle, grab that yarn that needs to come from back to front onto my left hand needle, and then pass that over, and then grab that last one that needs to come from back to front. Make sure it's in the front, pop that on my needle, pop my live stitch on the needle, and then pull it through. And now we are all laddered back up. I know it looks a little uneven right now, but with a couple tugs of your fabric to just even out your stitches again, I like to do it side to side, up and down, diagonal. It should even back out, and any additional unevenness should come out through a good blocking at the end. So I'm also going to show you how to do this with a crochet hook. So say you're knitting along, whoop, dropped another one. Oh dear. So here we go. This is a crochet hook. It's a nice little tool to have in your arsenal to make picking up stitches a little easier, especially when you're working with some tighter gauge projects later on. So again, we're going to take a look at this situation. The first one that I want to pull through looks like it's going to come from front to back. So it's going to be this guy right here coming from front to back. So I'm going to insert my crochet hook from the back of the live stitch and just pull it through. And I know the next one comes from back to front, so I can keep it on the crochet hook and just pull that through. And now I'm just going to pinch the base off this stitch to make sure it doesn't run down. Reorganize myself, make sure that last bar is coming from front to back. Putting my crochet hook and pulling that bar of yarn through, and then putting everything back on the needle with the right leg in front. And that's how you fix a stitch in garter stitch. Thanks so much for watching.